This clip came from the Doug Crabtree Report podcast. Full episodes drop every Monday at 9 p.m.
Hey, I'm so glad you answered. Did you know that I was expelled from school when I was a teenager and had to take my happy ass down to the jail and then got assigned to community service? I was listening to some documentary the other day talking about this particular person's struggle and how the system's kind of set up to, once you're down, it's kind of set up to just keep you right down. Yeah. And I got to thinking, have I ever experienced that myself? I mean, kind of a little. I think I got a taste of it, a little smidge. I think I got just the tip of Uncle Sam's keeping you down system. And at the end of the day, I guess this is still the land of opportunities, blah, 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 and all that. And I get that, and I agree. However, I'll let you draw your own conclusions to my struggle in the legal system. I am a convicted threat to school safety. But I served my time, and last time I had a background checked, I was still hireable. So I got out of. I'm not a felon, at least not on a convicted list. Just kidding. I'm not convicted or a felon. Okay, come on now. All right. So enough of that. Let me just tell you what happened. At the time of this incident, I lived in southern Indiana with my mom's and my stepdad, Richard. Okay? This was in, I do believe, might have been health class. And I was on an IEP, which only made sense for a couple years in lower grade school. Then after that, I was literally like tutoring other kids in class while doing my own work. So fuck you. But it didn't offend me to be on an IEP into high school. I didn't really care. I was getting the grades I wanted, and the IEP classes that I had to do for math and English were, I think I learned a lot more in that environment because you could go at your own pace. In math, I would just go through it the way I wanted, and I would only work in accordance with my interest level. That was in the Indiana school. I remember being in like quote unquote regular class when I came back to Ohio. But anyways, I'm coming down with the Roni. Oh yeah, so I was on an IEP, which means some of the classes they wanted, what did they call it? One of the special ed assistant teachers to sit in, which was kind of shameful because they had to go to like this little student desk and sit in pretty much on the side of the rows of all the students. They were treated like second class teachers in there. It was kind of strange. They moved from class to class on a schedule just like the students did, but a lot of times they were just following the one person, me or the other guy. I took a lot of refuge in the fact that I was never the one bothering the special ed teacher in the normal room, but I would always get asked every single time, do you want to take your test down the hall with the rest of us? And sometimes I'd say, yeah, just for funsies, or needed to, I guess. And a lot of times I'd just say, it's whatever you think, I don't care. Anywho, what was her name? Let's just call her Miss Fago, because that's what I'm looking at right now. Peach Fago, baby. You have not lived on this planet until you've slurped back a Peach Fago. Anyways, fucking, we're sitting there in health class, I think it was. I can't remember. But the chick was in there. The Miss Fago was in there. But she wasn't the regular teacher. Okay. The regular teacher had been gone for like a week and a half. And we had a sub. And nobody liked this guy. Everyone thought he was super boring. He didn't really teach, I don't think. We just kind of went through the motions. Believe it or not, I was a big old fucking class clown. I know that may be hard for some of us to believe about me, but I was literally trying to be front and center, rodeo clown kind of guy. As early as I can remember, and my biography's in the works right now. It's a tear jerker, and it's a knee slapper, and it's a tear slapper, all in one. But anyways, whew. Anyways, I was the big ass fucking class clown, so I would always chime in and interrupt all the time. And say a bunch of dumb shit, and the whole class would laugh, okay? Well, it doesn't matter what you say. It's about the filter that someone hears it through, and it's about the, I guess you could call it the times, quote unquote. I had to learn this. Oh, man. See, in grade school, the mantra is, sticks and stones will break your bones, but words can never hurt us. Basically, like my moms used to say, unless there's blood, I don't want to hear about it. But the culture, quote unquote, seemed to have shifted a little bit where words became something to call the police about. You know, the police became enforcers. They went from enforcers of the law to enforcers of feelings. This started like right after the new millennius. Okay. So anyways, no one liked the sub. I didn't give him any crap. I was a very polite young man. Kind of to myself in a lot of ways, but I had to entertain still, so I would always chime in with my shit. And that was a cool deal. Well, eventually the regular teacher came back, okay? And the class was having the discussion about how was your week last week, blah, 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 blah. And the teacher said something to the effect of, how was it with Mr. So-and-so, the sub? Everyone started groaning and said, we didn't like him. We didn't like him at all. He's not as good as you. And I yelled out loud, just like this. I said, bust a cap in his head. Just like that, the entire class erupted in laughter, and I thought it was funny because I'm not going to get access to a gun or do something violent. That's just not me. And I thought it was just stupid, and I blamed it on the movies. You know, I said it's just something I heard in a film, and it's a dumb, funny thing to say. Anyways, I didn't have to do the blaming until later because right at that moment, after the roaring laughter had toned down a smidge, Miss Fago, Miss Peach Fago, from her student desk off to the side goes, you know I have to report that, right? I literally laughed a little bit. I said, go ahead. Because I didn't really know at the time what she was really referring to. I just thought she was either like playing back or making just kind of an offhand remark. I didn't know and kind of didn't really care because I just didn't really know what the deal was. And I didn't think it'd be anything because to me, it wasn't anything. But to her, it was. And to the law, it was, baby. My chair's squeaking because it needs WD-40s. Okay, now when I do that, it decides not to squeak. But anyways, I said, yeah, whatever, lady. So I went back to doing my work and everything was fine. The next class period rolls by. Then the next class period's on the books. I'm sitting there minding my own motherfucking business, all right, doing my own thing, right? There's a knock at the door. Okay, it was not fantastic. There was a knock at the door. And it's the principal, all right? And he opens the door. I forget the guy's name because it wasn't like the principal of all principals I had back in Ohio. This was some other guy that I had in southern Indiana. And he looks right at me and he points and he goes, Doug, I'm going to need you to come with me. I thought, I didn't know that it was about that from earlier, but I just assumed I had done something a smidge against the rules at that point. I wasn't what was going on, but I didn't feel nervous yet. Keep that in mind, okay? I go down to his office with him, and he walks me past the secretary, and we go into his real office, which is a big deal, because if you're just in where the secretaries are, that's like, hey, do you have a Band-Aid? I brushed up my toe at my locker. You know, people go in there, but to go past the desk into the office, which was like a dead-end room, there was no exit, into the principal's fucking office. Whoa. My antennae stuck up a little bit. Still wasn't nervous yet. More curious to know what the hell was going on. Okay. Walked in there. He said, have a seat. Then he opened the lid on some chocolate Reese cups. Whew. And said, would you like a fucking Reese cup? And I said, no. Then I became very nervous. I was already intelligent enough at such a young, fragile age to know if they're trying to sweeten you up to get you to talk, something really bad has happened or has been mistaken to have happened. So I locked in place in the chair and didn't say much. And he goes, Miss Peach Fago told us that you made gun violence threats and claims against a staff member. I said, Sphincter says what? You talking about me or somebody else? He said, it was you. That is the report, and we will have to take actions. I said, whoa, wait a damn minute. What do you think I'm going to do? I said, look, this was just something I heard in a movie. It was an offhand remark. The whole class laughed. I'm a hit, baby. I'm a legend, okay? I'm a comic fucking genius, all right? It was perfect. I knew when to chime in. I knew what volume to have my voice at. We're going to bust a cap in his head. And the class loved it. It's just comedy. I'm not going to go do anything. And he said, I understand, but in this environment, okay, a comment like that has to be dealt with outside of the school. I'm like, whoa, wait. You said outside the school. What does that mean? This is the part that made me feel like really uncertain as to my future. I'm like, oh crap. This is not worth it. I'm getting out of comedy forever. He goes, I'm going to need you to go down to the Justice Center and meet with so-and-so, Mr. Brown Paper Bag. I'm just using the names of the stuff around me. I said, I'm going to have to go down and meet this guy named Brown Paper Bag at the Justice Center. And he said, yeah, do you know how to get there? And he kind of gave me directions. And I was already driving myself to high school or junior high or whatever the hell it was. I guess high school. So I had my little, I think it was an 86 Dodge Dakota pickup, which was my stepdad's. It was in the parking lot of the school, and he said, since you drove yourself here, we're going to need you to drive there immediately. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Do not stop and shit yourself. Do not stop at home and beg your parents not to beat your ass when they figure out that you're getting expelled for 3 days. He said, go directly there. Don't stop for water. Don't stop to pish or nothing. And meet with Mr. Brown Paper Bag immediately. I'm like, am I going to prison? Or he's like, I don't know. That's another nerve-wracking moment. I don't know. And somewhere in I was looking for it earlier when I paused the recording. I have an actual recorded phone call. I think like the next day or something, where I called the principal at the school because I wasn't allowed to go into the building. I was an expelled student, which by the way means you can't come in and you can't receive any of your work. You can't make any grades up. That's why the system is designed to keep you at a failure rate. You fuck up one time, even if you didn't know it would be a big fucking deal, man. It's designed. 3 days of missing no school. I almost didn't get any passing. I almost didn't pass that year. Okay? But that's another episode. Somewhere I had a recorded phone call of the conversation the next day, or maybe it must have been later on or something, like where I asked the guy, the principal, I called him on the phone and I recorded it, just had the old Slim Cam running with the lens cap on, which made the video blank because there was no light coming in, but it recorded the audio. I have it somewhere. I know I do. If it ever surfaces again, I will feature it, but it's not going to be here right now. That's not going to happen because I couldn't find it. Any fucking ways, I asked the guy on this call, I was like, okay, let me try to defend myself. How do you even know it was me? And he said, and I remember this very well because I have the call recorded and I've heard it a few times. He goes, look, when an adult makes a claim, we go by it. I said, well, I have claims to make too. He said, when an adult makes a claim, we go with what the adult says, not what the minor child says. Okay? And I'm like, well, I guess I don't have a choice in the fucking matter, do I? And he said, not really, but just go and get this taken care of. Come back into school when you're done. 3 days later, and I confirmed with the guy, I think, I don't know. But I remember confirming a lot. Are you sure there's no way I can get my work and make up my grades for this little slip up? Am I really a menace to society? And even if I was, why is the system designed to where I can't get good grades for a week, and I had to accept any assignments? Here was the rule. Any assignments that came into the classrooms on any of my classes, I had to receive an automatic 0 in the book. Okay? Believe it or not, 3 days of zeros brings down your GPA. If you don't have a passing grade, you're not going to become a junior, sophomore, senior, whatever the case may be. Yard? At least it was that way when I was in my old time, my old days back in the dizzy. I graduated in 05. This must have been whatever, sometime before that, obviously. It was not my senior year, I know that, because I was still in Indiana. Oh, shit. So this motherfucker, I go down to the Justice Center. I meet with Mr. Brown Paper Bag. He goes, hey, Doug, come on in. Sat down at his desk. He explained to me, we take matters like this seriously. You are required to go down. This is what he told me. I could not believe it. Okay. You are required to go down to the Next Step building, which is an alcoholics recovery building in town, where you will do whatever your boss tells you. My boss was some lady I was supposed to ask for once I got there. I'm like, oh, Lord. I don't mind working. I don't mind rolling up my sleeves and working, especially because I thought I had better do a damn good job and get out of trouble. I didn't like the fact I couldn't make up my grades. That's unfair. That's bullshit. It's designed to fuck you over, right? Anyways, boo. So I talked to him. I drove my happy ass down to the Next Step building, Alcoholics Recovery Center, which happened to be directly across the road from my best friend in southern Indiana, Titus. Him and I used to do the Doug and Titus show. We used to hang out all the time. We worked on our material. We thought we were hot comics up-and-comers, okay? So I felt a little bit comfortable that, like, they would see my truck there in case I die or get, like, eaten by zombie recovering alcoholics or something. So I showed up. I asked for the chick. Okay. And she introduced herself. I almost forgot. This is amazing. I can't believe I almost forgot this. When I walked into the door, there was sitting in a circle a group of people talking about their alcoholism. Believe it or not, I had never been in this building before. I didn't know where to go, who to check in with. I didn't know the person by sight, what they would look like. I just knew this chick's name. Let's go ahead and just call her, what do I have on my desk here? Let's call her Mrs. Notepad, okay? Let me get my notepad here, front and center, so I remember her name. Okay, you hear my notepad? Hang on. Oh, let me get it. Okay. So, I went over and sat down in the fucking circle because I didn't know who to ask for to get to Mrs. Notepad exactly, whatever the case may have been. Bada bada bing bong. Some guy leans over, puts out his hand and says, "Hey man, welcome to the group. How you doing, man? What's going on?" And I said, I'm here for community service. I'm supposed to be meeting with Mrs. Notepad. He said, "Oh, okay. She's in the kitchen. Go ahead. Go on back. Go on in and find her." So that was a relief. A little awkward. Just a tad. But luckily he introduced himself and knew where to point me, this recovering addict guy. If not, it would have become my turn. And I'd have been like, "Hi, I'm Doug, and I guess I'm an alcoholic now. Oh, I just defecated in my pants. I was only trying to be funny. Why am I even here? Where do I put my hands?" And the group would have said, "Hi, Doug. Welcome. Welcome, one of us. You are one of us. Ah." But that didn't happen. Walked into the kitchen. There she was, looking beautiful. And she said, "You must be Doug." Apparently she had got a little tip off about me. I handed her some papers, I remember. On the papers was like a checklist and a comment section that she was supposed to fill out on day 3 of my tenure. Serving community service. True story. She said, couple, how you doing, blah, blah, blah. She told me that she works there from 9 to 5. I guess she was just hired by the city because from what I understand, it was a city-provided place. I don't think the addicts there pay a due or anything like that. I noticed they had a kick-ass looking pool table, okay, which will come into play later, believe it or not, okay. And anyways, she hands me a mop and bucket and tells me to fill it up with warm water, points me to where I need to go. And then I poured a bunch of Pine Sol in the fucking thing. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm mopping the floors. No big deal. Bada bing, bada boom. I'll go out there, find a radio, turn it up to the country channel, and we'll get our freaking mop on. She goes, "You see how..." She took me out to the main alcoholics place. And she goes, "Doug, do you see how the ceiling is orange?" And I look up like I'm looking up at the cathedral and I go, yeah, it is orange. Wow, that's a keen observation. It really is orange. And she goes, "You're going to make it white again." Now, keep in mind, this was a giant hall with tape, like 3 rows of tables all the way down. It looked like a giant cafeteria. And in one corner was the pool table. And beside that pool table was that ring of people talking about their struggle. So I start mopping the ceiling. And she's right. When you put hot Pine Sol water on cigarette tar, it comes off and turns your mop bright orange and turns your water orange. I think I did. I don't remember doing half or anything specifically or running out of time. I did that entire fucking room while hot, dirty pneumonia water dripping down my arm and onto my face. I kept my mouth shut and I sponge mopped the ceiling and turned it white again. Because believe it or not, in that room, these are real farts, by the way. I'm not compositing these in or anything. If I have gas, it's becoming the listener's gas as well as we as we record this. I think recording, whether it be audio or video, brings out the gas in me because I'm really not super gassy, but you can't tell if you observe me via a frickin' interface. But anyways, I'm done early. My time had not run out yet. As I was in there doing that, Titus's mother opened the door, poked her head in and said, "Excuse me, what are you doing with Doug in here? May I ask what is happening with him in here today? What exactly is going on with him in here?" I thought, hell yeah, my lawyer's here, baby. I'm getting out of here. Come on, 60 days in, bitch. I'm out. Here's the stress signal. Get me out of here, right? Not really. Mrs. Notepad explained to her what had happened. She told me she can't say much, but I had to stay until 3 o'clock or whatever it was. So Titus's mom was pissed, and I felt I'm a bad man. I have a legal team. This is pretty cool. Thank you. But it didn't help. I finished the ceiling, okay? Took my dirty ass, now cold mop water into Miss Notepad. We dumped it in the sink. Then she gave me some more cleaner and filled my bucket up again, gave me a couple hand rags, sent me into the side room. Right beside the kitchen was this little room with a little table. It was like a little meeting room. The walls were that wood paneling, like the decorative, ugly wood paneling like Joe Exotic's house on the inside. So how the hell do you clean those? Because I had to clean that room, the actual walls. She said, make the water orange again and clean all the cigarette tar off of the walls. Because people, when they don't drink, they go in there and chain smoke. Okay, they did. Oh, they're probably still doing it today. I go in there, start cleaning the walls, pneumonia dripping off my elbows and shit again. And the rag, the washcloth, kept snagging on the wall because it's just this wood paneling shit and it's not smooth. In between each line is like that rough part. And it's designed that way on purpose to look like, I don't know. It was insane. But I did it and I was done. I did the whole room. I did it well. I cleaned and dusted, and with the one rag that I had, the two rags that I had, whatever, my water turned bright freaking orange again, just like she said it was. Something told me she'd done this shit before. I'm not the first fuck up that ever came into Miss Notepad's program down there at the Next Step building, the Alcoholics Recovery building. I gave her the bucket back. I said, I'm done. I think the room's good. She said, okay, good. Go ahead and have a seat. I literally sat in there with her in the kitchen and we talked about what I had said and how dumb I thought it was, and I was just trying to make someone laugh. Everyone loved it. So is this the price to be a clown ass? Apparently it is. We talked. She was making food. I noticed that this woman, all she does all day is make a bunch of food for the recovery meetings and stuff. And there was this giant fridge with the two big swinging doors, this gigantic gray metal fridge. It looked like a big walk-in closet, but it wasn't like a walk-in cooler. It was a freestanding piece, and it's just filled to the brim of good stuff to eat. And she made everything. That was her job, to clean the kitchen and to make food all day. That's the only thing I ever seen her do other than boss me around. So there was all this food, macaroni salad, there was chocolate pudding, there was cold cuts, there was veggie trays. She just made a ton of food, and I assume that the city bought it and gave her a job doing it. Because like I said, I don't think people pay to go recover there. But anyways, at one point she had me peeling potatoes, and I did that, and she's like, you do a pretty good job in the kitchen. You take orders well, blah, blah, blah. And we were just yenting it up like we were fucking best friends from Vietnam. And I did my job. 3 o'clock rolled around. I'm pretty sure it was 3 when I could leave, because I think it fell in line with school hours. She said, all right, we'll see you here tomorrow. When school would normally start, you have to report here. I'll be expecting you first thing. Guess who was there the next morning First thing, me and her. We go in. This time was different. Day 2 was a little different. On day 2, now I had a full shift with her. Day 1, I went to school half the day, got in trouble, and then went there. Day 2 was a little different. I thought, oh man, this chick's going to have me out in the yard freaking looking for worms or something, deworming the yard and pulling weeds out of the flower bed or something. I was expecting a long, miserable next 2 days of total hell to teach me a lesson. Do not crack a joke in school if it becomes overnight an unpopular topic. Like it was totally fine a year ago, not anymore. Not because of what you said or the kind of personality you have, but because of everyone else getting upset about something. So I thought I had a long 2 days of work. Nope, not at all. I sat in the kitchen, I talked with her, I did a little bit of dishes, I did a little bit of cooking with her. 90% of the time on day 2 and 3, I did nothing but just talk to Mrs. Notepad. We became, I guess, like co-workers, but she did all the work mostly. She didn't have me clean anything. I don't even remember like wiping down tables or nothing on day 2 or 3. I was in the kitchen just chilling with her. Okay. Well, at the end of day thrice, she had to fill out that paper that said her evaluation of me and our time together. I wish I would have kept it or somehow been able to take a picture of it. Nobody had no camera phones back then, and I sure as fuck wouldn't have had a cell phone. I didn't get a cell phone until I bought one myself as an adult. But she wrote in the paper that when I had showed up each day and when I had left each day and I was in and out, and she also wrote, the bottom was her comments, and she wrote this, and I'll never forget. She wrote, Doug Crabtree is the most polite, hardworking, and most pleasant young man who has ever attended this program. That is literally what Mrs. Notepad wrote. I didn't say anything when I saw it because I didn't see that until after I had left, after day 3. Not that I would have said anything anyways because I don't know what to say, but I thought maybe that means I'll be okay. I mean, I kind of had my fingers crossed I could make up some grades. I'm not afraid of the hard work. I would have went back to school and did twice the amount of work for a week to make up my grades. I wasn't there to not pass, you know. I knew what it meant to pass. It meant good things later. I got that already. Anyways, when I got back to school, I still could not make up any grades. That was not an option. I had a low GPA that year, big time. It was hard to bounce back from that, mostly because of that and the fact that I don't do fucking homework anyways. If I can't knock out an assignment in study hall on the day that I'm awake, then it ain't fucking getting done. Because I'm too busy in class being a rodeo clown entertaining everybody. Anyways, regarding that building, the Next Step building, I went back after that experience several times after school and played pool, tidied up, answered their phone, ate a ton of food. Because Miss Notepad was gone. She cut out at 3 every day. There was no one there of any kind of directorship after 3 o'clock. So me and Titus almost religiously would go in there every day after school, and we would shoot pool, and I got really good at playing pool. We got to know some of the alcoholics in there. They would come in for their meetings, and they'd be over on a table. Like 2 tables would be filled up with people talking and having like coffee and smoking. Me and Titus would be over on the pool table playing pool. And when no one was in there, we'd fire up the music. Sometimes we stood at the podium and played on the intercom system. When the phone would ring, I would run back to the kitchen and answer it. Next step. And people would say, is so-and-so there? Every time it was the same. So-and-so there? And I would ask, nope, not here. Or, is Miss Notepad there? Nope, she ain't here past 3. And then they would ask me, do you work here? And I'd say, nope, I just volunteer. Because I wasn't going in there to clean. I was accidentally, through this comment I made, discovered this cool hangout. And I had never consumed alcohol by that point, but I sure did look like it. I was a post-pubescent boy with my own truck, and I'd come in and, to stay off the streets, I guess. I was in there shooting pool and shooting shit. They had talcum powder, and we'd put it on our hands. We'd get all powdered up and just do big blooms of powder everywhere just for fucking off. And we'd shoot pool. One time, me and Titus did something immature. Believe it or not, I did something immature. We went down to the creek. That's right, the creek. And got a shit ton of empty alcohol bottles. Went in there and set them out on all the tables. Like idiots. And we laughed the whole way home when we walked back across the street back to his house. Anyways, I'm not sure what I forgot out of that story because I remembered new things as I told it. So that's that story. When you're in school, kids, don't say a fucking word because the culture changes every 5 minutes. You know what I mean?